Attorney General William Barr reportedly told federal prosecutors to aggressively consider charging demonstrators at anti-racism protests with sedition, terrorism, or treason, according to multiple outlets. So now, wow. So now, they do say it's violent demonstrators, so keep that in mind, right? Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, Barr spoke with U.S. attorneys around the country during a call last week and urged prosecutors to pursue federal charges whenever they could. So I don't care what you charge them with, just charge them with something. And some of those laws that they potentially cited included a rarely used sedition law. Now, the Attorney General specifically pointed to this law, which criminalizes plots to overthrow the government. Wait, okay. You're kidding me, right? So you're saying that protesters, right, even those who, light a car on fire or throw a Molotov cocktail, they're overthrowing the government. No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. The violations of this provision, by the way, could carry a sentence of about 20 years in prison. No, so now understand, right, that nonviolent protesters have often been, corralled with violent protesters, right? And basically, it's, in a lot of cases, interchangeable, right, according to the police. So they'll go and corral nonviolent protesters and say, well, I can't believe these violent protesters, right? Look, in reality, 93% of all protests, according to a study, were peaceful. Yes, you had instances of violence. You had looting. You had stores getting, caught on fire. You had cars. You had scuffles with police. All of that happened. You even had a couple of deadly shootings, right? But again, the vast, vast majority, because there have been millions of people marching for months. So the vast, vast majority are and have been peaceful. So here's the thing. I wonder who Bill Barr is going to charge with this law, right? Whether it be the violent, right-wing protesters, the counter-protesters that have, shot someone, or the left protesters, one of which who also shot a right-wing member. I wonder who they would use this law against. Well, I mean, they can't use it against the left-wing protester that was shot because they already, police had already killed him. But there's, that's what I'm saying. But, okay. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure William Barr is only going to go after the left-wing protesters. And look, we have evidence of that, right? Donald Trump sent in federal troops to break up peaceful demonstrations in Portland, right? There were some violent, demonstrations in Portland, but also peaceful ones, right? And when he did that, it actually made the situation worse than what local law enforcement had made it. He also broke up, as I said, peaceful protests in order to get a photo op at a church. And so, look, Donald Trump's maniacal, but Bill Barr is a pretty good lackey, okay? And that's evident, of course, when Barr, according to the Times, had asked prosecutors to investigate whether or not they could charge Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan, a Democrat and frequent target of the president, with any sort of crimes. So now they're just looking for crimes to try to charge people with, just because they don't like, the president does not like that person. Now, the Attorney General has also aggressively defended the president in recent months and taken a hard line against demonstrators, often blaming national turmoil on anti-fascists. Now, so here's a pro tip. If you're anti-fascist, then that means you're pro-fascist. Now, look, you can be against violence and looting during protests. I'm certainly against those things, right? And still be anti-fascist. The majority of anti-fascists are against those things. Understand, right? Again, 93% peaceful. The remaining 7% were a mix of things like police starting violence and then demonstrators fighting back. You also had right-wing infiltrators, white supremacists going in. Also just random people taking advantage of the chaos to go and get free shit. And, of course, idiots that for some reason think that looting a Target looks great for your movement, which it doesn't. It looks bad. In fact, local news And this is the thing about local news, right? They love to show burning things on, burning buildings, burning cars. And it really does make the protests seem like they're all like this. But in reality, as I said before, it's a very small number of protests that ended up turning violent. And I'm not against those people getting punished, getting arrested, and charged, as long as the punishment fits the crime. And so what William Barr is doing is insanity. It seems like it's against the rule of law. It's a way to punish people, to like over punish people for a political purpose. And look, I don't think, locking somebody up for 20 years for smashing a window is the smart thing to do, is a good thing to do, is a lawful thing to do. You should have a punishment that fits the crime. It should be proportional when it comes to justice. But with Barr and Trump, it's not meant to be proportional. It's meant to be a message, right? Sent to mainly his own followers to say, look at how tough I am on crime. Look at how dangerous things are, but only I can protect you. It is authoritarian, right? And that's what it is. But again, it's also a message to the peaceful protesters to say, you better watch out. If you keep demonstrating, we're going to loop you, we're going to link you to these very small amount of violent protests, and we're going to lock you up for that. And that, of course, means the end of protest. And if we lose the ability to peacefully protest in this country, then I'm really afraid of what's going to happen afterwards. What other rights are we going to lose? And I'm really scared of that.